Have you ever considered that your seemingly ordinary morning routine could be subtly undermining your well-being? Many individuals begin their day by brewing a fresh cup of coffee, perhaps toasting a slice of bread, and settling into their favorite comfortable chair each morning. It evokes a sense of familiarity and warmth, reminiscent of the comforts of home. Imagine if a seemingly harmless aspect of your daily routine, something you've practiced for years, could quietly elevate your chances of experiencing heart problems, dizziness, or even an unexpected collapse. That is the situation my neighbor Harold, who is 76 years old, found himself in. He was in good health. After enjoying his typical breakfast of black coffee and toast with jam, he stood up one morning only to feel a sudden lightheadedness that quickly enveloped him in darkness. Medical professionals later explained that it wasn't merely a matter of chance. Rather, it was a confluence of low blood sugar, dehydration, and a surge in cortisol, all instigated by what appeared to be an innocuous breakfast habit. As we age, our bodies no longer react in the same manner as they once did. A practice that seemed acceptable at 45 could pose risks at 75, particularly during the initial hour of your morning. In this video, I aim to thoughtfully guide you through the breakfast routine that poses risks for many older adults and demonstrate how making just one or two minor adjustments can safeguard your heart, enhance your brain health, and improve your balance. Rest assured, my intention is not to instill any fear. I'm here to assist you in recognizing the subtle details that often go unnoticed, the small elements that contribute to the experience. Because breakfast is more than just a meal to satisfy hunger. Establishing the mood for the whole day is essential. The impact on your brain's functionality, the steadiness of your hands, the heart's ability to manage minor stresses, and the strength to engage in beloved activities without the concern of dizziness or fatigue is significant. What can be challenging is that many of the breakfast missteps that older individuals encounter often don't seem like missteps at all. They evoke a sense of warmth, familiarity, and belonging. However, after many years of following the same routine, your body may be signaling that it requires a change at this point in your life. In this video, we will explore 6 subtle yet prevalent breakfast habits that may gradually undermine your health, and I will guide you through the process of addressing them with care. These adjustments are subtle, yet they reflect careful consideration, and they may enhance your sense of stability, clarity, and vitality each day as you rise. We aim to provide insightful guidance that can enhance your mornings and overall daily experiences. Be sure to stay tuned for all of our forthcoming content. Let us start with the first, which may very well be the most frequently overlooked of them all. And before we start, I would really appreciate it if you like this video. You can also help me continue spreading these timeless lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. If you like this video, leave a comment with the number 1. If you don't, comment with the number 0 so I can improve future videos. Now let's get started. First mistake, neglecting to include protein in your morning routine. Certain habits accompany us throughout our lives, often remaining unexamined. They begin as simple tasks, evolve into habits, and ultimately become instinctive. For numerous seniors, breakfast represents a cherished routine, one that is familiar, straightforward, and steadfast. A simple slice of toast, perhaps adorned with a touch of jam or a smear of butter, accompanied by a steaming cup of black coffee, that's all one needs. Straightforward and simple. It feels effortless, simple, and sufficient. However, the reality is that beginning your day without any protein could subtly hinder your well-being, particularly after reaching the age of 65. I reflect on my neighbor George, a gracious gentleman in his early 70s who always appeared vibrant and full of energy. Each morning he enjoyed a consistent breakfast of toast, jam, and coffee, nothing more. He mentioned that mornings were not the best time for his appetite, and he liked to keep things uncomplicated. For many years, that routine appeared to benefit him greatly. However, over time, George started to experience increasing fatigue. He mentioned that his legs felt unsteady as he descended the porch steps. One morning, he rose from the table and reached for the counter to regain his balance. It was at that moment that his daughter urged him to consult a physician. The doctor's visit initially showed no cause for concern. His heart remained steady, with blood pressure largely within normal ranges. When inquired about his dietary habits, George elaborated on his simple breakfast choices. The physician kindly noted that he was lacking protein in his morning meals. For an individual at that stage in life, such a factor could truly be transformative. As we age, it is common for our bodies to experience a decline in muscle mass. That loss does not merely diminish our strength. It influences our equilibrium, metabolic processes, and our ability to manage stress effectively. Protein plays a crucial role in preserving muscle mass. Without it, we may find ourselves more susceptible to feelings of fatigue, experiencing dizziness, and potentially facing falls. Beginning your day with only toast and jam, which are primarily carbohydrates, can lead to a rapid increase in blood sugar levels, followed by a swift decline shortly thereafter. The aftermath of that crash may leave you feeling exhausted, unsteady, or clouded in thought. It goes beyond merely counting calories. It's essential to consider the composition of those calories and whether they genuinely contribute to maintaining your strength and stability. The positive aspect is that addressing this issue doesn't necessitate a total transformation of your diet. George had yet to embark on the journey of preparing hearty breakfasts. He thoughtfully incorporated a small amount of protein into his existing meals. On certain days, it was simply a hard-boiled egg. On some mornings, he enjoyed a spoonful of Greek yogurt or a slice of cheese paired with his toast. From time to time, a handful of almonds or a spoonful of peanut butter. In just a matter of weeks, he began to observe the changes. His energy appeared more balanced, and the unsteady sensation in his legs vanished. Starting your day with breakfast can be simple, yet it should always be purposeful. Providing your body with a modest amount of protein in the morning equips it with the essential resources to maintain stability, enhance focus, and navigate the day with assurance. Even with a bit of protein in your breakfast, there's another common pitfall that many encounter: a seemingly innocuous choice that can lead to an energy slump before midday. Another common error is indulging in sugary cereals or toast slathered with jam. A delightful breakfast brings a comforting sense of security. A delightful bowl of cereal, offering a satisfying crunch complemented by a touch of honey sweetness. A piece of toast adorned with jam, perhaps accompanied by a refreshing glass of orange juice. For numerous individuals, particularly those who experience life in more straightforward eras, this type of breakfast evokes feelings of comfort, familiarity, and a gentle sense of ease. It seems like a gentle approach to begin the day, allowing for a smooth transition without putting too much strain on the body. What may appear mild at first can, as time goes on, unexpectedly impact how your body feels and operates. Consider my friend Eleanor, for instance. At 73, she remains as sharp as ever, with a quick wit that never fails to bring a smile. Her morning routine remains steadfast, a comforting constant over the years. She would carefully pour herself a bowl of her favorite cereal, the one with delightful sweet clusters, toast a slice of white bread to perfection, and then add a generous spoonful of strawberry jam on top. She shared that it brought her a sense of cheerfulness, reminiscent of what a morning ought to feel like. Recently, she began to observe something new. By mid-morning, a subtle tremor would begin to dance in her hands. She felt a gentle flutter in her heart after ascending the stairs. One day, she remarked that it felt as though the ground shifted beneath her when she stood up too abruptly. Initially, she dismissed it with a chuckle. "It might just be my imagination running wild," she remarked. However, after experiencing it several more times, she decided it was time to consult her doctor. She was taken aback by the conversation. It transcended the themes of aging or medication. The topic at hand revolved around blood sugar levels. The physician clarified that consuming refined sugars and simple carbohydrates in the morning, without any accompanying protein or fiber, leads to a swift increase in blood glucose levels. That surge may provide a brief lift, but it is soon succeeded by a downturn. For older adults, that decline in energy goes beyond mere fatigue. It may result in feelings of dizziness, difficulties with concentration, and a heightened risk of falls. Furthermore, a deficiency in protein and fiber can hinder the body's ability to regain stability following that decline. As time passed, this constant emotional upheaval took a toll on both the heart and mind, transforming simple daily activities into challenges that felt more daunting than necessary. Eleanor had never considered cereal and toast to be a daring choice. They brought simplicity, warmth, and a comforting sense of structure to her life. However, once she gained insight into the changes occurring within her body, she became receptive to altering her habits. She held on to her morning joy with unwavering determination. She has just adjusted it accordingly. She began selecting unsweetened oatmeal, enhancing it with blueberries for a hint of natural sweetness. Rather than using jam, she opted for almond butter on her whole grain toast. On those tranquil mornings when simplicity was desired, she would enjoy a hard-boiled egg before savoring her coffee. In just a fortnight, she shared that the unsettling sensation had vanished. She expressed that her energy felt more balanced, as if her mornings were no longer slipping away from her grasp. That subtle change, simply swapping out sugar for something more stable, empowered her to reclaim control over her day. Occasionally, the most delightful habits are those crafted without any sweetness at all. They provide a sense of stability and resilience, empowering you to embrace each day, not merely for solace, but for the vitality to fully appreciate the life you cherish. Breakfast encompasses more than just the food on your plate. It's equally important to consider your beverage choices. For numerous individuals, the day begins with a comforting cup of coffee, leading us to the third oversight. One common error is consuming coffee without having eaten anything first. For numerous individuals, particularly those who find themselves in solitude, coffee transcends being merely a beverage. It becomes a cherished companion. The gentle bubbling of the machine in the kitchen fills the air, while the warmth of the mug cradled in your hand brings comfort. The inviting aroma wafts through the house, grounding the morning in a sense of reality. Many seniors begin their mornings with a warm cup of black coffee, frequently enjoying it before having their first meal of the day. It evokes a soft awakening, a subtle delight. However, many are unaware that consuming coffee without having eaten can gradually lead to issues that may escalate over time. That is precisely what occurred with Mr. Jennings, a retired piano instructor residing just down the street. At 78, he maintained his morning practice, drove to the store on weekends, and made it a point to call his granddaughter every Friday. One day, while strolling through the neighborhood, he unexpectedly experienced a wave of lightheadedness. His heart raced with an unusual intensity. His palms were damp with anxiety. For a brief moment, he felt as though he might lose consciousness. It went by in a flash, yet it filled him with fear. When it occurred once more the next week, this time while he was just seated at the piano, he decided it was time to consult his doctor. Following a comprehensive examination, his physician informed him that there were no significant health concerns. There are no indications of a heart condition or stroke present. However, she inquired about his mornings. He shared with her that he had a routine of enjoying a cup or two of coffee first thing in the morning, long before he considered having any food. She nodded and shared that although coffee isn't harmful by nature, consuming it on an empty stomach, particularly as one ages, may trigger a rise in cortisol, the body's stress hormone. This can result in feelings of jitteriness, anxiety, heart palpitations, or even nausea. The consumption of caffeine can lead to an increase in the production of stomach acid. When the system lacks food to absorb, the acid can irritate the stomach lining, resulting in discomfort or potentially long-term digestive problems. It is crucial to understand that consuming coffee first thing in the morning without any prior nourishment can lead to a further decrease in blood sugar levels, particularly if the body's energy reserves are already depleted after a lengthy overnight fast. Mr. Jennings was unaware of any of that. Coffee had consistently provided a sense of safety, familiarity, and comfort. However, once he grasped the impact it was having on his body, he decided to make a subtle change. Upon waking, he began his day with a glass of warm water, followed by a light breakfast, often just half a banana or a slice of toast spread with peanut butter, before savoring his first cup of coffee. In just a few days, the unease had vanished. His energy appeared more consistent, and his thoughts were sharper. He continued to enjoy his coffee without pause. He initially provided his body with a foundation to support itself. It appears that coffee, though a delightful tradition, is most enjoyable when accompanied by thoughtful attention. The aroma, the coziness, the sense of security, they remain ever present. When your body has a foundation to lean on, that sense of comfort transforms into a source of strength. That is precisely the kind of morning we all merit. Naturally, there are individuals who forgo the coffee. In reality, some individuals forgo breakfast entirely. This leads us to a habit that poses greater risks than many might understand. Omitting breakfast entirely is a common misstep. A unique sense of fulfillment arises from the ability to find contentment in simplicity. Numerous seniors often express that they have never truly embraced breakfast as a meal. There are those who claim that they do not experience hunger in the morning. Some individuals express that they have simply not developed the routine. A steaming cup of coffee, perhaps a refreshing glass of water, and they begin their day with purpose. However, what may appear to be a straightforward and innocuous habit can gradually take a toll on the body, particularly when breakfast is consistently omitted, day in and day out. Consider Mrs. Campbell, for example. At 75, she maintains her independence, continues to drive, and takes the time to send handwritten cards to each of her 6 grandchildren. However, throughout the past year, she had started to feel unwell in the mornings. At times, she experienced a subtle tremor in her hands. Other moments brought a mental haze that caused her to misplace her keys. She dismissed it as a part of getting older, but one morning, as she stretched to reach the top shelf in the pantry, she lost her footing and almost took a tumble. That moment prompted her to pause and consider if her body was conveying an important message. During her checkup, the doctor inquired about the standard topics, then thoughtfully addressed her dietary choices. When Mrs. Campbell mentioned that she often didn't eat until late morning or even noon, he thoughtfully explained that skipping breakfast after a full night's sleep is akin to running on an empty tank. As we grow older, it becomes increasingly challenging for our bodies to sustain a proper balance of blood sugar and muscle strength without consistent nourishment. Prolonged periods without breakfast can lead to decreased energy levels, slower reflexes, and a heightened risk of falls. The brain relies on a consistent supply of glucose. When it falls short, aspects such as memory, concentration, and emotional well-being may start to decline, even if in a subtle manner. Mrs. Campbell had always held the conviction that a lighter, cleaner breakfast was the way to go, believing that consuming less in the morning made for an easier start to the day. However, she came to understand that forgoing breakfast was not enhancing her strength. Rather, it was leaving her exposed. She preferred a simple meal, without the need for an extravagant plate of pancakes or a lavish spread. She simply required a little spark to ignite the engine. Thus, she embarked on her journey with straightforward actions. A couple of apple slices accompanied by peanut butter. A slice of whole grain toast accompanied by a dollop of cottage cheese. On brisk mornings, a warm bowl of oatmeal sprinkled with cinnamon. She observed that the haze of confusion started to dissipate. Her stability enhanced. Above all, she experienced a newfound sense of stability, not only in her physical being but also within her soul. Omitting breakfast may appear to be a trivial choice. However, for older individuals, this frequently represents the initial missed chance of the day to provide the body with its essential requirements. A touch of nourishment, a sprinkle of kindness, a bit of encouragement to remind us that we are present, ready to embrace the day with strength. However, even when you have breakfast in the morning, there is another factor that can subtly influence your overall well-being. It's not about the meal itself, but the quiet moments that surround it. One common error is dining in solitude without conversation. A subtle sense of void settles in when the dining experience turns hushed. Not merely the type where there's an empty seat at the table, but the kind where the entire room seems to hold its breath, where the sound of a fork hitting a plate resonates like a thunderclap, and where every bite feels like a chore rather than a pleasure. For many older adults, dining alone has become a common experience. While solitude can be peaceful, the absence of conversation and companionship during meals, day after day, can gradually diminish the pleasure and fulfillment that food can bring. I recall Mrs. Evelyn, an 80-year-old widow residing just 2 houses away from my aunt. She exuded elegance, consistently dressed with care, and radiated kindness in every interaction. Following the loss of her husband, she withdrew into solitude, expressing a fondness for the tranquility that surrounded her. However, as time passed, it became evident that there was an absence of something important. She paused in her task of setting the table. Meals transformed into a simple arrangement of crackers and cheese on a paper napkin. When inquired, she would offer a gentle smile and respond, "Oh, I find myself not feeling very hungry these days." However, it was not her desire for food that had diminished. It was the significance surrounding shared meals. She eventually confessed that without a companion to share her thoughts with, meals no longer held the same joy they once did. It turned into a routine, a duty, merely another item to mark off the day's list. Many individuals may not be aware that dining in solitude and silence influences more than just one's emotional state. Research indicates that when seniors dine alone, they often consume smaller portions, opt for less nutritious options, and may even lose their enthusiasm for preparing meals. This may result in unintended weight loss, diminished energy levels, and potentially malnutrition as time goes on. The stillness at the table deepens the sense of solitude. Loneliness, as medical professionals now acknowledge, has tangible impacts on heart health, cognitive function, and even the immune system. Eating in silence, without the presence of conversation, music, or a sense of connection, can lead to slower digestion and a different response from the body to food. Lack of emotional or social engagement can lead to a cycle that diminishes appetite and reduces overall energy levels. However, the answer doesn't always necessitate having someone else by your side. Evelyn discovered a method to infuse her meals with warmth once again. She began playing music softly during breakfast, a gentle background of jazz, reminiscent of the moments she and her husband cherished together. On certain days, she would sit down to her meal, tuning into nostalgic cooking shows, allowing the comforting voices to envelop her space. Each week, she looked forward to her lunch with a neighbor, sharing a simple meal of a sandwich and tea, which transformed into the most cherished moment of her week. Every Sunday morning, she began reaching out to her niece for a delightful chat before breakfast. That phone call, she remarked, gave her the comforting sense that she wasn't dining in solitude, even in those moments when she truly was. Dining transcends mere sustenance. It's about connection, about the reassurance that you remain integral to something larger, a cadence, a bond, a life that holds significance. In the most serene of homes, the gentle notes of music, the warmth of a kind voice, or the simple act of sharing a moment can transform a solitary meal into a meaningful experience once more. While emotional nourishment is indeed important, we must not overlook one of the fundamental physical needs that many of us tend to neglect without a second thought. One common oversight is neglecting to hydrate within the first hour of waking up. Occasionally, even the simplest acts of kindness, such as playing a favorite tune during breakfast or reaching out to a cherished friend, can truly revive the spirit and create a warm atmosphere. While emotional nourishment holds great importance, there is a fundamental physical need that often gets overlooked at the start of the day. Finally, we arrive at the last oversight, neglecting to drink water in the first hour after waking up. It may seem straightforward, even apparent, yet many seniors start their day without prioritizing hydration. Some individuals immediately grab a cup of coffee, while others choose to forego any beverages until lunchtime. Dehydration can manifest through signs like fatigue, dizziness, dry mouth, and poor focus, often sneaking up on us. We may attribute these symptoms to age or medication, unaware that the solution could be as simple as ensuring adequate water intake. Mr. Halpern comes to mind, a reserved gentleman in his 80s who diligently reads the newspaper each morning and tends to his rose bushes with meticulous care. He once shared with me that he never started his mornings with water, claiming it made his stomach feel too unsettled. Instead, he would enjoy a steaming cup of coffee, perhaps accompanied by a slice of toast, and nothing more. As time passed, he began to experience a growing sense of sluggishness. In the quiet of the early hours, his recollections seemed to blur and fade. He described the act of getting out of bed as if he were pulling his body through thick, heavy sand. One morning he slipped while trying to grab a book from a low shelf. Fortunately, he managed to stay on his feet, but the experience was unsettling enough for him to mention it during his next appointment. The doctor had anticipated this outcome. Following a few thoughtful inquiries, she clarified that the majority of individuals tend to rise in a state of mild dehydration. Following a night of 7 or 8 hours of rest without hydration, the body experiences thirst, even if that sensation hasn't yet registered with you. Water plays a crucial role in various bodily functions, including digestion and circulation, while also supporting blood pressure regulation and cognitive performance. Neglecting to replenish that initial essential element can lead to your organs exerting more effort, resulting in stiffer joints and a cloudier mind. For older individuals, even slight dehydration can result in significant balance problems, diminished cognitive function, and unwarranted tiredness. Mr. Halpern regarded the advice with great seriousness. He preferred not to start his day with cold water, so he took to warming it just a bit and keeping a small glass within reach on his bedside table. Before his feet met the ground, he would take a moment to enjoy half a cup. He was astonished by the rapid impact it had. His mornings appeared more lucid, and his energy remained consistently balanced. He even quipped that his knees seemed to grumble a bit less when he bent down to care for the roses. Consuming water might appear to be a simple act. It isn't available in a pill form, nor does it need a prescription. However, it stands out as one of the easiest yet most impactful practices you can incorporate into your morning routine. A glass of water communicates to your body, "I acknowledge your needs, and I'm attentive to you." Let us embark on this journey today with thoughtfulness and attention. If you're still tuned in, I would be eager to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below about any breakfast habits you may find yourself falling into, or let us know which change you plan to implement first. Be sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell to stay updated with more valuable insights like this. Now let's take a moment to summarize the 6 breakfast missteps we've discussed today. Initially, neglecting protein in the morning deprives your body of the essential fuel required to kickstart the day effectively. Reaching for sugary cereals or toast with jam may provide a quick burst of energy, but it often leads to a subsequent crash shortly thereafter. Consuming coffee on an empty stomach can lead to increased levels of stress hormones, resulting in feelings of jitteriness and a lack of balance. By forgoing breakfast, you begin your day without the necessary fuel, which can lead to feelings of tiredness and a lack of concentration. Dining in solitude or silence may diminish your appetite and affect your mood, making it more challenging to savor your meals. Finally, neglecting to drink water in the first hour after waking can result in dehydration, which may leave you feeling sluggish and fatigued. However, it is crucial to keep in mind that everything can transform beginning from this very moment. With just a few straightforward changes, you can enhance your sense of strength, vitality, and equilibrium each morning. Incorporating protein into your breakfast, opting for healthier choices, and ensuring proper hydration right at the start of your day can significantly enhance your overall well-being, mental clarity, and daily mobility. Begin prioritizing your well-being today rather than postponing it for tomorrow. Begin your journey today. Every little adjustment brings you closer to a healthier, happier, and more vibrant version of yourself. I sincerely appreciate your time and attention. Thank you for watching. We trust that these breakfast suggestions have been beneficial and that they will motivate you to implement small yet impactful adjustments in your daily routine. We invite you to share any new insights or knowledge you've gained today in the comments section below. Your feedback would be greatly appreciated. Your feedback is invaluable to us, and we make it a priority to read every comment. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It enables us to craft even more refined content that aligns perfectly with your preferences. If you found this video enjoyable, we would appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing and activating the notification bell to stay updated on our future content. We have a wealth of engaging insights and guidance headed your direction. We truly appreciate your support, and we look forward to sharing our next video with you.